I'm live. Lovely. And why am I live at 1:14 in the morning? Well, it was going to be like midnight or so, but I had to cook and make food and pet cats, things like that. So I don't expect anybody to show up because everyone in America is asleep. Might get a New Zealander because it's about like noon there, sort of, somewhere during the day. It's during the day for Brits, but they're all at work probably. So cool. I don't mind. What are we going to talk about? Excuse me. That was rude. Yeah, I have tattoos. I have lots of tattoos. And that's just my arms, not my legs. I was going to talk about I'm butthurt. Not butthurt like you're ticked off, you're mad, etc. But physically, actually, my rear end hurts on one side. And I keep trying different pillows and stuff, but doesn't help. My chat filter, all messages. I didn't know that the broadcaster had to do it. Pinky! Hello, Pinky, my friend. I thought I might get somebody from down under. Is down under only Australia or does it count New Zealand too? Because you're both kind of down there. Yeah, just hanging out. Yes, my butt is sore. On one side, and I've tried different pillows. Oh, here, see, there's a pillow. I mean, I've got an office deck chair that worked really well. Used to be my whole butt would go numb, but now it's on one side. And when I stand up, I can barely walk. So, hey, John, good to see you. Good morning. I should have known that you might be on because you are, well, I guess we're getting towards daylight in UK and Europe. Cool. So I really don't have a topic other than my rear end hurts, and I'm trying to figure out a good pillow so that I can sit here and do these things without being. It's pain when I stand up and my left leg won't work. So that's it. 8:17. Okay. 9:17 p.m. And so that works. Whoa, I have 13 people watching. Astounding. Wow. Well, I have tried to go live a number of times, and people want me to go live and discuss paranormal topics and things like that. Problem is, every time I start to go on, there's some other big channel that's live or having a premiere or whatnot, which it's not a problem. I can't compete with them, I know. But I know my watchers will be very I won't get many watchers if everybody's over watching big channels. So I have no answer. So, but you've got to check out Pinky's art and music. She makes excellent dragon videos and other videos. With her own music. And well, Pinky, that's why I aimed for middle of the night, because I figured I would be the only one live. If people were insomniacs, they might catch me from the States. If they, uh, I'd catch the other side of the world. Awesome. Yeah, John, I just checked out your video of the noises in the lockdown camera at the hotel. Very interesting. Mystic John catches some very interesting evidence in his investigations. So I always catch that. The church where you got noises. I mean, I I I am getting together some topics to discuss. I haven't been uh, um, investigating. I did. uh, yes, well, I'm a person that uses the devices and the apps, and I figure we gotta, in my opinion, take advantage of every tool available to us. Even if it's a sucky tool, even if it doesn't, we don't know it works, but hi, Grady. Yes, Pinky provides us with great conversation and interesting videos that she draws. So, welcome everybody. And part of my bent is on culture because I've been big into culture, society, things like that. And I would like to, set some things straight. Ooh, that does sound good, John. The last reading from John that I got really told me to get off my butt and start doing my YouTube channel, start recording, start uh, doing whatever I needed to do to get it up and going. So I actually, as far as, uh, okay, here's the thing. Podcasts used to be like voice only back when the internet didn't have the ability for a lot of videos. It was like a radio show over the internet. But now podcasting has live feed like this, like I am, where you're live. So I get confused as to what's a podcast. Is it any different these days than a video cast or a live stream or whatnot? Or those are the kind of things that keep me awake at night. Well, not really. Yes, I'm very interested in side and the Native American side, the indigenous culture. Um, because a lot of investigations and even debunks I see totally ignores the cultural aspects of what they're looking at. Yes, I love Paranormal Monkey podcast with Justin. He always has interesting speakers and he's very fair-minded. He lets them have their say, you know. He doesn't try to convince anybody to believe one side or the other, which is kind of important to me because I've had experiences, although I don't have, so basically it's me saying it happened. But back to the one thing that gets me, I was going to do a video on is, and I'm not telling anybody what to believe or not believe. They can believe anything they want, but they need to get their paranormal right. Like, um, okay, a thing like Skinwalkers. Pardon me for one moment. I lit the sage. I do certain things when I talk about certain entities, certain subjects. I try to honor the Native Americans. I have talked to different Native Americans and different groups. I've lived there. I've seen how they're seen the culture. And so I trust them when they say, you know, if you're going to talk about skinwalkers, you have to take the right precautions so you don't call them to you, kind of thing. But the point is, skinwalkers are in the Southwest United States. And so when you get somebody up in Maine talking about a skinwalker, well, no, they're wrong. That it could be a shape changer, Wendigo, rake, or whatever. Uh, you saw Loch Ness Monster in the Mojave Desert. It's not going to happen, right? Well, it shouldn't happen. A giant waterborne creature lumbering along in the desert. But that's the thing. That's what irks me is getting it right. Yes, I want the facts about imaginary beings to be correct, even though they might be imaginary beings. But they aren't really, depending on what culture, with what culture. I mean, I don't put anybody down for their culture, their religion, what they believe. That's for them. And even though I don't understand it, it's not for me to judge. Is kind of my thought. So, well, I could give you the whole Skinwalker talk right now instead of making a separate video because I've wanted to do a video for like forever and I've never gotten around to doing it. And what keeps me awake at night is when I'm thinking of these stories and videos I want to make, but then I don't get them done. So, but yes, it's a lot about culture and getting things right as far as culture. Um, First off, okay, skinwalkers are, oh, very cool. I have always been interested in the Maori, Pinky. I think that it's an amazing culture. And I'm amazed that any of these groups, that have suffered so much through history and even suffered people that actively tried to wipe out their culture, and yet they survive and keep their culture. I love the Maori hakas. The They do it. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on any of these things. I read a lot, but I'm not totally, you know, I don't know more than the native people themselves know, or the Maori, or the Hawaiian people, any, the Sami in Northern Europe, the Mongolians. There are all kinds of groups that have their own beliefs, and their own culture. And I'm not an expert on any of them by far. Oh, awesome, Pinky. I guess I'm going to have to visit Pinky so that I can learn more about Maori culture from your relatives. So, I mean, that's a case in point. The Maori have their own beliefs. They have their own beliefs of good beings and bad beings, evil beings, or things you should do or not do that can put you, in danger of. This is a big, big, big ball of twine, and every time I get a little bit pulled off, there's another knot, and I got to go back, and it's a big, like a spider web here, because it's all tied together. It's like, okay, well, let me concentrate on the desert Southwest, because I'm the most familiar with that. To start with, skinwalkers are not cryptids. They are human beings, just like you or me. But okay, according to the Navajo teachings, way back in the early days, the the sky people, the gods, the spirits, the creator, however you want to put it, taught the people rituals, because the shamans, the medicine people, had to travel great distances to take care of the people. And, it could take days to get somebody where somebody needed something. Think of the old time country doctor, where somebody rides a horse to them all night to get to you, and now it's going to take you a full another day or more to get back to that person who is in vital need of medical care, spiritual care, whatever you want, whatever they need. And the spirit beings recognized that the Navajo shamans needed a way to travel quickly, to travel far, long distances, and to be able to take care of the people. Because the Navajo way is always about balance between light and dark, and keeping the world in balance. And when something bad is happening, somebody's sick, that puts the world out of balance, and it needs to be corrected. and they corrected with herbal medicine, corrected with uh, um, brain fog, rituals, dances, prayers, whatever it takes to put the world back in balance, to put the person back in balance. So they gave the shaman people, they gave them the rituals, the songs, the prayers to don the skin of an animal and travel like that animal. It's flying, running, whatever they needed to get to do their job. And these were good people. And they were and are still good skinwalkers. But as with anything, somebody takes it and perverts it. And so now there are bad skinwalkers, bad witches, people that do bad medicine. And they perverted the rituals, the songs, the prayers to an evil purpose. And one thing that is said is that to become an evil skinwalker, you have to do a very despicable, perverted deed to seal your pact, to seal your fate. And that can be killing a member of your own family, um, killing, I mean, that's the most powerful one. A person, um, just think of the bad things humans can do, and those can be most likely used to become this, to walk the bad path. And it includes, killing animals, not honoring the spirit of the animal, but, killing and capturing the animal's soul, as it were. And these are people, beings, they are people. They are human beings, have chosen the bad path and become evil beings, and their whole purpose is to wreak havoc, cause illness, cause death. Um, in some cases, they can be paid to curse people, to uh, attack people. And so they're not something you want to run into. But the thing is they are basically confined to the desert Southwest because the mountains are sacred, and that's where their power lies, is in the sacredness of the mountains. So you're not going to see one up, in Maine or Canada. You might. I mean, with as much as our population has become mobile, people can move anywhere, and the skinwalkers can move anywhere. But the thing is, they'll be extremely weak in other areas because their power comes, if that's clear. And so the thing is all these stories from, I don't know, Michigan, Ohio, the Northeast of America, and even in Canada, and I've seen them in Alaska. They claim they're skinwalkers. Well, they're not. They're your variation of them. They are a cryptid or humans that have gone evil, but they are not skinwalkers. And those, when you're reading a story, I mean, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, southern Colorado. It could be into a bit into California, maybe over into Texas, but that's because the sacred mountains are in Arizona. So that's where they strictly stay. That is their place of power, and uh, as the Navajo way is about balance, and they'll call it the beauty way, to stay right with uh, the gods, the goddess, the world, keeping the world right. The bad skinwalkers want to disrupt that. They want to totally destroy it. They have become so twisted in their souls that anything good they want to attack. And that brought a thought to me, and where did that thought go? Oh, okay. Now here's something, it's very important when you're researching things to look at your source. Most of what we're seeing today comes from anthropologists that studied in the early 1900s. Okay. As far as the Navajos, there's one man, and I can't remember his name right off the bat, but that was his fame, was recording a lot of Navajo stories and a lot of their beliefs, and he was a big anthropologist in the early 1900s. The problem is, okay, nothing against him, nothing against his religion. He was a Christian, and a devout Christian. And so everything that he wrote, in my opinion, is filtered through that lens. All of our everything is filtered through the lens of who we are, what we believe, what we learned. And so when this man heard about the Navajo practices, he called them all witches. He called them all evil, which is not correct as far as skinwalkers go. There are good ones and there are bad ones. We hear mostly about the bad ones because they are the ones wreaking havoc. They are not the ones healing people, healing the land, doing what's right. I mean, it's like anything. What do you hear? You nowadays, okay, you're hearing more good, where a guy plants a million trees over 40 years and turns a desolate island into a paradise again. But 9 times out of 10, you hear about the bad that's happening. The people destroying the environment, destroying. People like to destroy. I do away TV. Welcome. Everybody's welcome here. I'm talking about culture and the paranormal and about other uh, populations, I guess you'd say non-white populations, non-Christian populations, and how their beliefs should be taken accounted for when we're doing paranormal investigations. So, that is, a lot of people use his work as their background information for their research, not realizing that everything is filtered through his experience. So, what he wrote about wasn't evil. It was good people doing good things for their community, but because it fell into the area of magic, it must be evil. And it's not. There's good and bad in all this. There's good and bad in the world. And there may be spirits, creatures, whatever, that have existed since the dawn of time that may be good or bad. More often, we are more aware of the ones that are bad, dark, whatever, because they do affect our lives more often, and it's more often that we notice it. We often take the good in our life for granted, and but we don't notice every time we walk by the table and are fine. We notice the one time we walk by the table and stub our toe, for example. So that's one thing. That's another case is, and you also have to be aware of Hollywood, TV, movies, popular fiction, how that rewrites things through their lens, and they're trying to sell, and horror sells, scary sells, evil sells. Filming a field of beautiful flowers, watch for a few minutes, be like, okay, we're done, but you the same field with something, I don't know, dark and bad going there, maybe a tractor ripping up all the beautiful flowers. Well, people will watch for hours. Do away. You're welcome to your opinion. All opinions are welcome here. All beliefs are welcome here. But we don't try to tell other people what to believe. My belief is that the earth is billions of years old. So, anyway, so the fact is that we often stick everything into a box, particularly when it's of magic origins, what we call magic. Back in history, what we commonly do every day now would be considered magic 100 or 1,000 years ago. So that's part of it too, is history and looking at how we view things now. The things we think are impossible now might be like earliest humans. I mean, you drive a car up to people living in 200 CE, and they're like, evil, evil, magic, oh my God, kill this guy, whatever. So we have to remember things. Just because something seems impossible to us now doesn't mean it is. It just, our brain at this time cannot fathom this greater thing. So back to the topic at hand. What is a cryptid and what isn't? Because a lot of the things that we call cryptids are not cryptids. Cryptids being any animal, whatever thing that we can't get a handle on, like, okay, well, the giant squid, for example, back centuries ago, it was a myth. No, Pinky, neither do I, and I put the person in timeout because I want my stream to be welcoming and open to everybody, and everybody, can express their experiences without judgment, without what, you know, I want people to feel like they can talk about anything. They can talk about their experiences and what they've done and what they've without somebody telling them how they're wrong. And I didn't want to get into exactly, John. Well, this is only I did a my first live was like 2 minutes testing it out. I did a long live in a cemetery, and this is my third live, so I'm still getting a handle on things and realizing when people are actually trolls and when, you know, but I gave him a timeout because I didn't want to argue the point. There's no reason for it. I'm not here to tell anybody what to believe or how to believe. I'm trying to set the record straight as far as things that um, excuse me, so that people can be more informed, even if they're just writing fictional stories, that they're getting it right, you know. And I think that and of what they're investigating, that they know what they're investigating and they get it right, you know. So, and skinwalkers are a fascinating subject. And, mostly all we hear about them is that they're evil beings, um, but there are good beings as well. You can go either way, you can choose your path. It wasn't chosen for them, they chose it. They wanted, and they can unchoose it. One of the things about I learned when you're driving down around in the Southwest and you see an animal skin like thrown over a fence, thrown over a bush, a post, whatever, there's an old animal skin there. You don't touch it. You don't mess with it. And what it is a skinwalker has decided to not be evil anymore, not to be bad. They've given up that. They're trying to make a new life, and they've left the evil behind in that skin. A very good person to watch videos on is it's Sean Clen. It's ShancLen, all one word. Sean Clen. I forget the rest of his. Look this up. Look this up real quick here. Sean Clen Shadow Productions. And he had a Wayne. Hi, Wayne. How are you? I'm just doing a random live in the middle of the night, trying to get rolling with my channel, trying to be what I got to be. There's another, what is it called? Channel, if I can remember it. I'll have to come back and tell you. It's another channel that Sean Clen made with his brother previously to his channel, where they show investigations um, Unearthing the Supernatural, Unearthing the Supernatural, which he started with his brother Hero. Um, and, they visited a number of places. Now, okay, Sean Clinton gets a bad rap because, yes, he appeared on an episode of Fake Baggins, which he has since, well, I don't know how you say it, disavowed them. He wants nothing to do with them. He realized it, what fakers they were and how they skewed the whole video and were actually making fun of his native beliefs, and he wants nothing to do with them. He covered it in one of his videos that, he didn't realize what they were like. And in fact, um, at one point in the Baggins video, they say he went outside and he disappeared, like you poof, up in smoke, disappeared. When actually he stepped outside to have a smoke and he was standing there the whole time. So, you know, how are you, Wayne? You doing good? The wife is good. Everything is good with you. See, I don't know what I'm doing. I just talk. And if you're lucky, or if you're unlucky, you'll see me making a bunch of weird faces. I like having a small audience. I've been in some of the big live streams, and they can't even read all the comments or say hi to everybody or talk to people. And yeah, someday I hope to have that problem, but for now, I'm quite happy. Um, so if you know, skinwalkers are a sacred part of Navajo religion and spirituality, and there's there's tons and tons of stories about them, and there's something I'm aware of from in that part of the country. I worked on a reservation for a time. Um, and when you say, well, they cursed somebody, they killed somebody. Well, yeah. Um, just like we used to think ninjas were mythology, but then we found out that, oh, well, they had weapons, they had powders and poisons and things like that. And it's the same with the skinwalkers. They blow a powder in somebody's face and they get sick, or they sprinkle it at a home and people get sick and people can die. And it's because it's a poison powder. A lot of things that seem mystical come down to actual science. And, there's we know there's a psychological component in anything. Like we talk about being primed to see something. There are different cultures where if you do a certain thing, people believe they will die and they can believe themselves to death. Seg had over 300 in his stream earlier. I missed that stream, but I don't doubt it. Seg has really grown. I've seen a lot of people really grow over the last year or so. And not to be a pain in the butt, but this, what we call our paranormal community, I mean, there's over 100,000 people in it, my belief. You look at all the groups and that they don't cross over. So there's no reason any of our groups, any of our channels in this paranormal community shouldn't be struggling for subs because, we've got the people. Twin Paranormal, then it's demon. Yes, it's a demon. Everything is a demon to Twin Paranormal. I have my own thoughts on demons, but what am I looking for? I'm looking for my drink, sorry. And it's interesting that every culture in the world has some concept of a demon or a dark presence or a dark entity. Which I think that those kind of dark beings may have been here long before humans and may even be humans at this point. Humans can so evil that they would be what we'd call demons. But yes, this is a wonderful community. Everybody's very supporting and takes care of each other. Nobody sorry, I just flicked an ant off my table. Just a sec, I'm turning my back on you. And I'm back. Yes, I think we wouldn't recognize good if there wasn't bad. I mean, and there's different levels of bad. It's like, okay, among the Skinwalkers, there are good ones that treat people, that respect the culture, do the rituals properly, and, you know, the same, there's always going to be somebody that uses it for evil. And that's, what Skinwalkers are. They're people who have chosen evil, chosen to go to the dark side, Luke. And I think, every day we have the opportunity to do good or to do bad, and sometimes we do bad on accident, not because we mean to, but because that's how things happen, or it's better for us in the long run. So of course, there's rules in Desert Southwest, and you may be familiar with them because they're used in a lot of different areas. Like if you think you heard your name called, you didn't, and you ignore it, and you don't call back. And most of these beings thrive on fear. And if you're not fearful of them, I mean, anything can scare you, but if you don't let the fear run rampant, they don't have power of you. And, the best situation is if something is in the area is making you uncomfortable, get out of there. Don't keep investigating. Get out of there. Trust your gut. Trust your feelings. Your lizard brain or whether knows what's best for you and what isn't. Sounds like you're old friends, Wayne. Yeah. I think we all have some of those friends. Um, so there are these beings, I don't know, everywhere. More predominantly, they're shape changers that can change into something else, not skinwalkers who are in a do it through a ritualistic manner. And you have to remember, oh, I started to say Hollywood. Hollywood, movies, books, pictures. We've all seen how the Conjuring house changed from the reality into the movies. They made excellent movies, but it wasn't the reality. And it's the same with much of the paranormal and cryptids, etc. Um, Speaking of the Wendigo, which is in the northeast of the United States and Canada, um, Hollywood took it and made it into this tall creature being with a deer skull and antlers and all of that. That's all Hollywood. And it's made it into modern uh, paranormal stories and whatnot. But the true Wendigo is a they may be tall. It's a human, very emaciated. It's a cannibal. It's a serial killer. And it comes from the teachings of not eating your fellow humans no matter how bad the winter is, because to partake of human flesh turns you into one of these window creatures that you can never be satisfied. You're always hungry. And they're very emaciated, and their skin is tight over their bones, and they may be misshapen in other ways. And in Canada, in fact, in the early days, probably the 1800s or so, the First Nations, the native people there, had specific people whose job was to kill the Wendigos, kill any person that they believed was a Wendigo. And the family would come to them and say, my brother, my son, my whoever, I'm afraid he's become a Wendigo. And so they would, there was a certain ritual to killing these people to ensure that they didn't come back and they didn't poison anybody else. But yeah, the whole skull, I mean, it sounds really scary. A giant creature with a deer skull and antlers and no eyes and weird shaping arms and legs and all that. That sounds a lot more scarier than some skinny dude running through the woods trying to kill people. Okay, a skinny guy running through the woods trying to kill people is scary too. People are scary. But that's, getting your cultural references correct and learning from the people that live there what these creatures actually are. It's like Bigfoot. Sasquatch has got like 10 or 15 different names and different descriptions depending on where in the United States you see it. And in Nepal, we have the Yeti. That would be a cryptid. It's a non human being. You know, but okay, according to native elders speaking recently, this summer there are going to be a lot of dogman sightings in Ohio. I don't know how they know that. Um, they're quite very serious that Dogman is not Bigfoot. Bigfoots are called Satonka, and the indigenous populations have stories going back centuries, even now. But we don't much listen to indigenous populations. But they are different creatures, and they do exist according to the indigenous people, which is okay. Part of my rant on culture and stuff is a water cryptid called a Taniwa in New Zealand. Right. Yeah, well, nobody can predict when they're going to see something. Um, and I don't know why there is this belief that there's going to be more activity this summer, but I'm not an elder and uh, I don't have connections to what they do. Pronounced this details. Hi, bearded wonder. Not everything is demonic. I don't know if the water cryptid is demonic. I don't know. The thing is, among Euro American culture, everything we don't understand, we say it's evil or demonic. Everything we are ignorant about, instead of learning more, we describe it as being, it's witchcraft, it's evil. It's how um, all the witch trials, many of them were because these were simple healers and maybe they couldn't heal everybody. So, oh, well, they must be a witch, they must be evil because they didn't heal my relative. Well, we can't heal everything, even now with modern medicine. So, evil hides in the darkness. Evil hides in ignorance, in lack of knowledge, in the darkness of our ignorance and not being willing to learn more about things. Knowledge can free us from many of our fears. And sometimes it's the knowledge, sometimes it's not pleasant. You know, so we've been going an hour. Cool. Yes, we can we often ignore the evil that is in plain sight. But what we have to realize is just because we don't understand something in the paranormal does not automatically make it evil. Not understanding something in the paranormal doesn't automatically mean it's uh, Yes, the witch trials were all about gaining power and position. A lot of innocent people were killed then. Yes, and sometimes it was a land grab, sometimes it was just you wanted what they owned. But the thing is, in the paranormal, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's evil, doesn't mean it's something to be scared about. If you look at pictures of of the Navajo spirits, you can't tell which one is good and which one is evil. They all look very scary, but they're not necessarily all evil. And that's the same with any culture, that you will see things that they may seem very scary, but that doesn't mean they're evil or bad. And you do have to, look at the filter you're looking at things through, how you've been raised and taught. Yes, there are people in some religions that do not believe in the paranormal at all. If there's anything paranormal, then it's evil from the devil. And others that recognize that there can be celestial spirits, there can be human spirits, there can be animal spirits. Ooh, Crypt Walk is on with a premiere. I forgot what that, I didn't read it all. So I think I will call it a night for the moment. I didn't really have things written out and I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about. But we did talk a bit about skinwalkers and understanding that there are humans, not cryptids, not spiritual beings, humans that have chosen a good or bad path. And the Navajos are very spiritual people with deep beliefs. And I'll write up a real thing about it and do it upright later. But to hang with my peas, got to hang with Wayne and Pinky, John, Bearded. Some other people popped in and out, so thank you. You all go and have a good day or evening. Now we have the awkward ending because I have to find out how I turn this off. Later, folks. Please like and subscribe if you don't mind. Other than that, bye now. No, frick. Your audience. Look, this is an awkward ending because I don't know how to turn the thing off.